The night sky over the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico was clear and filled with stars. Dr. Maria Rodriguez yawned as she stared at her computer screen. It was another quiet night shift, monitoring the vast emptiness of space for any unusual signals. Suddenly, a sharp beep from her console made her jump. Her eyes widened as she saw a strange pattern emerging on the screen. "This can't be right," she muttered, adjusting her glasses. The signal was like nothing she had ever seen before. It was too regular to be natural, yet too complex to be from any known human source. Her heart raced as she realized what this could mean. With shaking hands, she picked up the phone and dialed her supervisor, Dr. James Chen. "James, you need to see this now." Within an hour, the observatory was buzzing with activity. Scientists from various departments huddled around Maria's computer, arguing in excited whispers. "It's definitely artificial," one of them said. "But it's not one of ours," another added. Dr. Chen silenced them with a raised hand. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We need to verify this data before we do anything else." For the next 48 hours, the team worked tirelessly to confirm their findings. They cross-checked with other observatories around the world, ran the signal through every known filter, and analyzed it from every possible angle. The conclusion was always the same. They had received a message from outer space. As news of the discovery spread, the whole world seemed to hold its breath. Governments called emergency meetings, religious leaders offered their interpretations, and social media exploded with theories and speculation. In Washington, D.C., President Sarah Thompson sat in the Oval Office, surrounded by her top advisors. The atmosphere was tense as they discussed their next move. "Madam President, we need to respond," urged the Secretary of Defense. "If we don't, someone else will." "And say what?" the President asked, her voice calm but her eyes betraying her concern. "We don't even know what the message means." Dr. Emily Sato, the newly appointed head of NASA, cleared her throat. "Our team has been working on decoding the message. We believe it's a distress signal." A hush fell over the room. The implications of this were enormous. "A distress signal," the President repeated. "From whom? And why?" Dr. Sato shook her head. "We don't know yet, but the signal is coming from a star system about 50 light-years away. It's been repeating for what we estimate to be several months." The President leaned back in her chair, her mind racing. This was not a decision to be made lightly. The fate of humanity could hang in the balance. "What are our options?" she asked. For hours, they debated. Some argued for caution, warning of potential threats. Others pushed for immediate action, seeing this as humanity's chance to prove itself on a cosmic scale. As dawn broke over the Capitol, the President made her decision. She would address the nation and the world. That evening, the anticipation was palpable as billions tuned in to watch the broadcast. In homes, offices, and public squares around the globe, people gathered around screens, waiting to hear what their leaders would say. President Thompson stood at the podium, her face serious but her voice steady. "My fellow citizens of Earth," she began, "today, we stand at the threshold of a new era in human history." She explained about the signal, the distress call from the stars. Then, she delivered the news that would change everything. "After careful consideration and consultation with leaders around the world, we have decided to respond to this call for help. We will send a message back, offering our assistance, and we will prepare to launch a mission, the first interstellar rescue mission in human history." The world erupted in a mix of excitement, fear, and wonder. In that moment, old rivalries seemed to fade away. Humanity had a new purpose, a common goal that united them all. As the broadcast ended, Dr. Rodriguez sat in her small apartment, watching the reactions unfold on her TV. She thought about that quiet night shift that had started it all, and smiled. Whatever happened next, the universe would never be the same. And neither would humanity. 6 months had passed since humanity's decision to respond to the alien distress signal. The world had changed dramatically. Countries that were once enemies now worked together, pooling their resources and knowledge for the greatest adventure in human history. At the newly built International Space Command in Geneva, Switzerland, Captain Zora Chen stood before a giant screen, her heart pounding. She was about to lead the first human expedition to another star system. Final systems check complete, a voice announced over the intercom. Starship Hope is ready for launch. Zara took a deep breath and nodded to her co-pilot, Lieutenant Jamal Okafor. "Let's make history," she said with a smile. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. All around the world, people watched with bated breath. In New York, Tokyo, Lagos, and countless other cities, crowds gathered in front of massive screens in public squares. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. The Starship Hope, humanity's most advanced spacecraft, rose from its launch pad in a blaze of light and sound. The ground shook, and cheers erupted worldwide as the ship broke free from Earth's gravity. Inside the ship, Zara and her crew of 12 experienced scientists and explorers felt the intense G-forces pushing them back into their seats. As they breached the atmosphere and the sky turned from blue to black, a sense of awe filled the cabin. "We've done it," Jamal whispered. "We're on our way." The journey to the source of the distress signal would take 3 months, thanks to the new faster-than-light drive developed in response to the alien message. During this time, the crew trained, studied, and prepared for every possible scenario they could imagine. As they neared their destination, tension on the ship grew. What would they find? Would the aliens be friendly? Were they even still alive? Finally, the moment arrived. Starship Hope dropped out of FTL speed, and a strange sight greeted them through the view screen. "My God," Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, gasped. Before them floated an enormous fleet of alien ships. They were beautiful, their sleek designs unlike anything humans had ever created. But many of the ships showed signs of damage, and none of them seemed to be moving. "Life signs?" Zara asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Confirmed," replied Dr. Tanaka. "Thousands, no, millions of life forms, but their energy readings are weak." Zara nodded. "Send the greeting message we prepared. All frequencies, all languages." For several tense minutes they waited. Then suddenly, their communication system crackled to life. A face appeared on the screen. It was undeniably alien, with large, almond-shaped eyes, no visible nose, and skin that seemed to shimmer with a faint blue light. Yet there was something hauntingly familiar in its expression of hope and relief. The alien spoke, its words translated by their advanced "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Zorans. We thank you for answering our call." Over the next few hours, the Zorans explained their situation. Their home world had been destroyed by a massive solar flare. They had fled with as many of their people as they could save, searching for a new home. But their fleet had suffered a catastrophic systems failure, leaving them stranded in space. "We have been adrift for what you would call 50 of your Earth years," the Zoran leader, who called himself San, told them. "Many of our people are in stasis, but our resources are nearly depleted. Without your help, we will not survive much longer." The crew of the Starship Hope exchanged glances. They had come prepared to offer help, but the scale of the problem was far beyond what they had imagined. Zara stepped forward. "We will do everything in our power to assist you," she said firmly. "Humanity stands with the Zorans." As she spoke these words, Zora knew that the real challenge was just beginning. How could they save millions of aliens with technology far beyond their understanding? And how would Earth react to the prospect of helping an entire alien civilization? But looking at the grateful faces of the Zorans on the screen, Zara felt a surge of determination. This was why they had come. This was humanity's chance to prove itself on a cosmic scale. "Let's get to work," she told her crew. And with that, The greatest rescue mission in the history of the universe began. As the crew of Starship Hope floated in their shuttle towards the main Zoran vessel, Captain Zora Chen couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. They were about to become the first humans to set foot on an alien ship. "Remember," she said to her team, "we're here to help, but stay alert. We don't know what to expect." The airlock hissed open, and they entered the Zoran ship. The interior was a marvel of alien engineering, with sweeping organic shapes and softly glowing surfaces. But signs of the fleet's dire situation were everywhere. Flickering lights, patches of darkness, and an eerie quiet that spoke of systems barely functioning. Sen, the Zoran leader they had spoken to earlier, was waiting for them. In person, the aliens were even more striking. Tall, graceful beings with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold the depths of space. "Welcome, friends from Earth," San said, his words translated through the team's advanced communicators. "We cannot express our gratitude for your arrival." Dr. Yuki Tanaka stepped forward, her eyes wide with wonder. "The honor is ours," she replied. "We're here to help in any way we can." San nodded solemnly. "Then let me show you the true extent of our dilemma." As they toured the ship, the scale of the problem became clear. The Zorans explained that their fleet consisted of over 1,000 ships, carrying millions of their species in stasis pods. These pods were failing one by one as power systems degraded. "We estimate that without intervention, all stasis systems will fail within 1 Earth year," San said, his voice heavy with worry. "Millions will die." The human team exchanged grim looks. This was far worse than they had anticipated. "What about your propulsion systems?" Lieutenant Jamal Okafor asked. "Can they be repaired?" A Zoran engineer named Vela shook her head. "Our quantum drives were damaged beyond repair when we encountered a strange anomaly in space. We've been adrift ever since, using the last of our power to maintain life support and stasis systems." As they continued their tour, they came to a vast chamber filled with row upon row of stasis pods. Each one held a sleeping Zoran, their faces peaceful, unaware of the danger they were in. "These are just a fraction of our people," Keksan explained. "The rest are spread throughout the fleet. Every pod you see here represents a family, a lifetime of memories, a future waiting to unfold." The weight of responsibility settled heavily on Zora's shoulders. How could they possibly save so many? Suddenly, an alarm blared through the ship. Vila rushed to a nearby console, her movements frantic. "It's happening again," she cried. "Another bank of stasis pods is failing." The team sprang into action. Dr. Tanaka and Jamal worked with the Zoran engineers, trying to reroute power to the failing systems. Zara and the others helped to evacuate the Zorans whose pods were shutting down. As they worked, Zora caught glimpses of the newly awakened aliens, confused, frightened, and weak from their long sleep. The sight steeled her resolve. They had to find a solution, and fast. Hours later, exhausted but successful in averting the immediate crisis, the team regrouped with San and the Zoran leaders. "We've bought some time," Zora said, "but this is only the beginning. We need a long-term solution." San nodded gravely. "We have one possibility, but it is problematic." He explained that the Zorans had discovered a suitable planet for colonization, not far from their current location. It could support their life forms and had resources they needed to rebuild. "So what's the problem?" Jamal asked. San's large eyes seemed to dim. "The planet is already inhabited by a pre-spaceflight civilization." A heavy silence fell over the room. The implications were enormous. Colonizing the planet could mean the survival of the Zoran species, but at what cost to the native inhabitants? Zara felt the weight of the universe on her shoulders. This was no longer just a rescue mission. It had become a complex ethical dilemma, with the fate of 2 species hanging in the balance. She took a deep breath. "We need to report this to Earth. This decision is too big for us alone." As she prepared to send the message back home, Zara knew that humanity was about to face its greatest test. How they responded would define them as a species and shape the future of galactic civilization. The alien dilemma had begun, and the clock was ticking. The news of the Zorans' dilemma spread across Earth like wildfire. In every nation, on every continent, people debated the moral implications of the situation. The fate of two civilizations now rested in humanity's hands. At the United Nations headquarters in New York, an emergency session was called. Representatives from every country gathered to discuss the unprecedented crisis. President Sarah Thompson stood at the podium, her face grave. "We face a decision that will define our species for generations to come," she began. "Do we help the Zorans colonize a planet, potentially displacing another sentient species, or do we refuse, possibly condemning millions of Zorans to death?" The assembly hall erupted in a cacophony of voices. Some argued passionately for saving the Zorans at any cost. Others insisted that interfering with the development of another civilization was unethical. "We cannot play God," shouted the representative from Brazil. "Who are we to decide the fate of an innocent species? But can we stand by and watch millions die when we have the power to save them?" countered the delegate from India. As the debate raged on Earth, Captain Zara Chen and her crew aboard the Starship Hope worked tirelessly with the Zorans. They managed to stabilize more of the failing stasis pods, but it was clear that time was running out. Dr. Yuki Tanaka made a breakthrough in communicating with the Zorans' advanced AI systems. "If we can integrate some of our technology with theirs," she explained to Zara, "we might be able to extend the life of the stasis pods. But it's only a temporary solution." Lieutenant Jamal Okafor had another idea. "What if we could find a way to share the planet? Maybe there's enough room for both species to coexist." Zara nodded thoughtfully. "It's worth exploring. But first, we need to learn more about this pre-spaceflight civilization. We can't make a decision without understanding who they are." Back on Earth, scientists, ethicists, and leaders continued to grapple with the problem. Professor Elena Rodriguez, a renowned xenoanthropologist, proposed a controversial solution. "We should send a team to study this unknown civilization," she suggested during a global broadcast. "Only then can we make an informed decision about coexistence or intervention." Her proposal sparked intense debate. Some saw it as a reasonable compromise, while others feared it would inevitably lead to interference. As days turned into weeks, the global discussion evolved. People began to see the crisis not just as a problem, but as an opportunity, a chance for humanity to prove its wisdom and compassion on a cosmic scale. Grassroots movements sprang up around the world. In parks and city squares, millions gathered to hold candlelight vigils for both the Zorans and the unknown civilization. Children sent drawings and letters to space agencies, offering their ideas for peace between the species. Finally, after a month of intense deliberation, the United Nations reached a decision. President Thompson once again addressed the world. "After careful consideration, we have decided to take a multi-step approach," she announced. "First, we will send a small team to study the pre-spaceflight civilization, using all available stealth technology to avoid detection or interference." She paused, letting the first part of the plan sink in before continuing. "Second, we will dedicate all possible resources to finding alternative solutions for the Zorans. This includes searching for other habitable planets and developing new technologies to extend the life of their stasis systems." The President's eyes shone with determination as she delivered the final part of the plan. "Lastly, we extend an invitation to the Zorans. Earth is opening its doors. We offer temporary sanctuary to as many of their people as we can safely accommodate while we work together to find a permanent solution." The announcement was met with a mix of cheers and gasps. It was an audacious plan, full of risks and unknowns, but it was also a plan that spoke to the highest ideals of humanity: compassion, curiosity, and hope. As the news reached the Starship Hope, Captain Zara Chen felt a surge of pride in her species. They had chosen a difficult path, but one that honored the rights of both civilizations. She turned to San, the Zoran leader, who had been waiting anxiously for Earth's decision. "Well," she said with a smile, "it looks like we have a lot of work ahead of us." Zan's large eyes shimmered with what Zara now recognized as tears of relief. "Your people have shown great wisdom," he said. "Together, I believe we can find a way forward that honors all life." As the human and Zoran crews began to plan their next steps, a new chapter in galactic history was about to unfold. The real challenge, and the greatest adventure, was just beginning. The next few months were a whirlwind of activity both on Earth and in space. Humanity had committed to its most ambitious project yet, saving an alien civilization while respecting the rights of another. On the Zoran fleet, Captain Zara Chen and her crew worked tirelessly alongside their new alien friends. The integration of human and Zoran technology proved challenging but rewarding. "It's like trying to mesh together two completely different puzzles," Lieutenant Jamal Okafor commented as he tinkered with a Zoran stasis pod. "But when it works, it's beautiful." Dr. Yuki Tanaka made a breakthrough in extending the life of the stasis pods. By adapting human cryogenic techniques to work with Zoran biology, they'd managed to buy precious extra months for the sleeping aliens. Meanwhile, Earth had become a hive of activity. Countries around the world opened their doors to the first wave of Zoran refugees. It was a logistical nightmare, but also a moment of unprecedented global cooperation. In New Delhi, a Zoran family marveled at their first sunrise on Earth. In Rio de Janeiro, Zoran children played soccer with human kids, their laughter bridging the gap between species. And in Tokyo, Zoran scientists worked side by side with human researchers, sharing knowledge that would benefit both civilizations. But the greatest challenge lay ahead. A team of human and Zoran explorers prepared to embark on a secret mission to study the pre-spaceflight civilization on the potential colony planet. The team gathered on the bridge of a specially designed stealth ship. Captain Chen addressed the mixed crew, her voice filled with determination. "Remember," she said, "our mission is to observe only. We must not interfere with their natural development. The fate of 3 civilizations depends on what we learn here." As they approached the planet, everyone held their breath. The world that appeared on their view screen was beautiful: blue oceans, green continents, and swirling white clouds. It looked remarkably like Earth, yet alien at the same time. Using advanced cloaking technology, the team entered the planet's atmosphere undetected. They set up a hidden base in a remote mountain range and began their observations. What they discovered amazed them. The native species, which they named the lumens, were humanoid but with distinct differences. They had iridescent skin that changed color with their emotions, and large, sensitive eyes adapted to their planet's dim light. Their civilization seems to be at a level similar to Earth's medieval period, Dr. Tanaka reported after weeks of careful study. They have a rich culture, complex social structures, and a deep connection to their environment. The team watched as the lumens went about their daily lives, blissfully unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding above their heads. They saw lumen farmers tending to crops, witnessed their colorful festivals, and marveled at the beautiful cities built in harmony with the surrounding nature. As they gathered more data, a moral dilemma grew among the team. The lumens were clearly sentient beings with a thriving civilization. How could they even consider displacing them? But the clock was ticking for the millions of Zorans still in stasis. The temporary solutions were buying time, but not indefinitely. It was Scan, the Zoran leader, who proposed an unexpected solution. "What if," he said thoughtfully, "instead of colonizing their world, we asked to share it?" The idea was radical, but it sparked a new line of thinking. Could they find a way to introduce themselves to the lumens peacefully, to coexist without disrupting their natural development? As the team debated this new possibility, they received an urgent message from Earth. A new habitable planet had been discovered, not far from their current location. It was uninhabited and potentially suitable for Zoran colonization. Excitement rippled through the crew. This could be the solution they had been hoping for, a way to save the Zorans without compromising the lumens. But as they prepared to investigate this new world, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Okafor's voice came over the intercom, tense and urgent. "Captain, we've got a problem," he said. "Our cloaking device is failing. The lumens have detected our presence." Captain Chen rushed to the bridge, her mind racing. Their careful plans were unraveling. How would the lumens react to the sudden appearance of alien visitors? And how could they handle this first contact without violating their principles? As the team scrambled to respond to this unexpected turn of events, they knew that the next few moments would shape the future of not just two, but three civilizations. The true test of humanity's wisdom and compassion was about to begin. Captain Zara Chen's mind raced as she assessed the situation. The lumens had detected their presence, and their carefully laid plans were in shambles. But before she could decide on a course of action, another alarm blared through the ship. "Captain!" Lieutenant Jamal Okafor shouted, his eyes wide with disbelief. "We've got multiple unidentified ships entering the system." The view screen lit up with a terrifying sight. A fleet of sleek, predatory-looking vessels was rapidly approaching, their designs unlike anything the humans or Zorans had ever seen. "Are they lumen?" Dr. Yuki Tanaka asked, her voice trembling. Sen, the Zoran leader, shook his head. "No, this technology is far beyond their capabilities. These are something else." As if on cue, a harsh, grating voice crackled through their communication systems. The universal translator struggled for a moment before producing words they could understand. "Attention, inferior species. This sector now belongs to the Vrax Imperium. Surrender and prepare for assimilation, or face immediate destruction." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. They were facing not just accidental first contact with the lumens, but also an invasion by an unknown hostile force. Captain Chen's training kicked in. "Battle stations," she ordered. "Jamal, get us out of the atmosphere. Yuki, send an emergency signal to Earth and the Zoran fleet. San, we need everything you know about these Vrax now." The ship shuddered as it rose rapidly through the lumen atmosphere. Below them, the peaceful medieval world was about to face a threat beyond their wildest nightmares. As they breached the upper atmosphere, they saw the full extent of the Vrax fleet. Dozens of warships were positioning themselves around the planet. "The Vrax are a warrior race," San explained quickly. "They conquer and assimilate other species, taking their resources and technology. We've heard rumors, but never encountered them directly." Zara nodded grimly. "Well, it looks like today's the day. We can't let them take this planet or harm the lumens." But how could their single ship stand against an entire invasion fleet? As if in answer to her unspoken question, space around them shimmered, and suddenly they were surrounded by familiar shapes. The Zoran refugee fleet had arrived. "We received your distress call." A Zoran captain's voice came through. "We may not be warriors, but we stand with you, our human friends." Tears pricked at Zara's eyes. Despite their own desperate situation, the Zorans had come to help. The Vrax, apparently surprised by this show of force, paused in their advance. Zara seized the moment. "Attention, Vrax Imperium." She broadcast on all frequencies. "This planet is under the protection of an alliance between humanity and the Zoran people. We request that you leave this system immediately." A harsh laugh was the only response before the Vrax ships opened fire. What followed was a battle unlike any in human history. The Zoran ships, though not designed for combat, used their advanced maneuverability to dodge Vrax attacks. Human ingenuity came into play as Captain Chen coordinated their efforts, using strategies that the Vrax had never encountered. Dr. Tanaka worked feverishly to adapt their shields against the Vrax weapons, while Lieutenant Okafor's piloting skills kept them one step ahead of the enemy. But the Vrax were powerful, and slowly but surely, they were wearing down the human-Zoran alliance. Ships on both sides erupted in silent explosions, and Zara knew they couldn't hold out much longer. Just when all seemed lost, a miracle occurred. The lumen planet below them suddenly pulsed with energy, and a shimmering field expanded outward, enveloping the entire system. The Vrak ships suddenly found themselves powerless, their weapons and engines dead in space. The human and Zoran vessels, however, remained unaffected. "What's happening?" Jamal asked in awe. Before anyone could respond, a new voice joined their communications, melodic, peaceful, yet resonating with unmistakable power. "Greetings, starfaring races," the voice said. "We are the Lumens. We have watched and listened as you fought to protect our world. Now we offer our help in return." The bridge crew stared at each other in shock. The supposedly primitive Lumens had been hiding capabilities far beyond what anyone had imagined. As the disabled Vrak's fleet drifted helplessly, the Lumen voice continued. "For millennia, we have chosen a path of peace, hiding our true nature from the stars. But we cannot stand idle while others fight on our behalf. We offer you friendship and a chance for all our peoples to forge a new future together." Captain Chen, tears streaming down her face, could only nod in grateful acceptance. In trying to save one species, they had forged alliances with two others, fundamentally changing the course of galactic history. As the Vrak's threat was neutralized, and the Lumen representatives prepared to board their ship, Zara realized that their rescue mission had turned into something far greater, the birth of a new galactic community, founded on principles of mutual aid and understanding. The greatest adventure of all was just beginning. The days following the battle with the Vraks were a whirlwind of activity and emotion. As the dust settled, representatives from Earth, the Zoran fleet, and the Lumen world gathered on the planet's surface for historic talks. Captain Zara Chen stood with her crew, still in awe of the beautiful Lumen city that had revealed itself. Shimmering spires of crystal and living plants reached towards the sky, a testament to the advanced civilization the Lumens had kept hidden for so long. The Lumen leader, a tall, graceful being named Ilara, stepped forward to address the gathered delegates. Her skin shimmered with patterns of light that seemed to reflect her emotions. "For centuries, we Lumens have watched the stars, knowing we were not alone," Ilara began, her voice melodious. "We hid our true nature, fearing that contact with other races might lead to conflict. But your bravery in defending our world has shown us that there is hope for unity among the stars." Zen, speaking for the Zorans, bowed deeply. "We came to your world seeking refuge, yet you have given us so much more. You offer us not just a home, but a future filled with friendship." President Sarah Thompson, who had traveled from Earth for this momentous occasion, stepped forward. "On behalf of humanity, I extend our deepest gratitude and our hand in lasting friendship to both the Lumens and the Zorans. Today marks the beginning of a new era for all our peoples." As the leaders spoke, Dr. Yuki Tanaka worked with a team of Lumen and Zoran scientists. The combined knowledge of the three races had led to incredible breakthroughs. "We've done it!" Yuki exclaimed, rushing into the chamber where the delegates were gathered. "Using Lumen energy technology and Zoran stasis expertise, we can safely revive all the sleeping Zorans. And there's more. We've found a way to terraform the uninhabited planet we discovered. It will be perfect for Zoran colonization." A cheer went up from the assembled crowd. The problem that had started this incredible journey was finally solved. But the alliance that had formed went far beyond just solving the Zoran refugee crisis. In the weeks that followed, the three civilizations began to share knowledge and resources in ways that transformed them all. Lumen environmental techniques helped restore damaged ecosystems on Earth. Zoran faster-than-light technology revolutionized human space travel, and human creativity and adaptability inspired new ways of thinking among both Lumens and Zorans. Together, they also began to address the threat posed by the Vrak's Imperium. The Vrak's ships and crew, still held immobile by Lumen technology, were treated with compassion. Efforts began to communicate with them, to understand their society, and find a peaceful resolution. Lieutenant Jamal Okafor found himself leading a team of human, Zoran, and Lumen diplomats in these delicate negotiations. "We're not just preventing a war," he told Captain Chen. We're trying to bring about a change of heart in an entire civilization. As news of the alliance spread across the galaxy, other civilizations began to reach out. Some sought protection from the Vracs. Others were simply curious about this unprecedented cooperation between different species. 1 year after the fateful battle, representatives from a dozen different alien races gathered on the Lumen homeworld to discuss the formation of a galactic council. Captain Zara Chen, now Admiral Chen, watched with pride as humans took their place among the stars. When we first received that distress signal from the Zorans, we thought we were embarking on a rescue mission. Zara mused to her old crew, who had gathered for the occasion. We never imagined we'd end up helping to forge an alliance that would change the course of galactic history. Dr. Tanaka smiled, her eyes twinkling with the excitement of new scientific frontiers to explore. Just think of all we'll learn from each other. The possibilities are endless. And think of all the good we can do together, added Jamal, who had just returned from another round of talks with the Vracs. We're not just exploring the stars anymore. We're making them a better place. As the official ceremony began, marking the formation of the new Galactic Council, Zara felt a sense of pride and hope unlike anything she'd ever experienced. Humans had not only proven themselves on a cosmic scale, they had helped bring about a new age of cooperation and understanding among the stars. The rescue of a stranded alien fleet had led to humanity's greatest adventure, and it was only the beginning. As representatives of a dozen species raised their hands, or tentacles, or appendages, in a gesture of unity, Zara knew that the real journey was just starting. Together, united in their diversity, they would face whatever challenges the universe had in store. And they would face them not as separate species, but as one galactic family. The stars, once cold and distant, now shone with the warmth of new friendships and endless possibilities.